ended. But let's get Prakash Diwan of Altamount Capital into this discussion. Prakash has identified a couple of stocks for us. In fact, he's gotten us very hungry this morning with his first recommendation, which is Tasty Bite Eatable. So we should pull up that stock for you on your screen. Prakash, hi, morning. I was just going through this story. Interestingly, they have rice and noodles as a part of their package products business. Is this a proxy to the Nestle game, you think?
No, not at all. But we chanced upon this stock because we were running through an entire peer set of Nestle in the food business and trying to figure out who gets impacted and with what kind of changes. Interestingly, this is a company that exports all its output. It's a Pune-based company. They, in fact, have a very unique farm which they've developed. So they pick up stuff from there, use it in their process, and they follow a process which is called retorting. This is where you actually package the food first and then cook it and seal it. So the freshness of the food remains, it's sterilized, there's no bacterial growth that's possible, and it can remain on the shelf for 18 months. Without going through the IQF, which is the individual quick frozen technology. And that's precisely the reason why it's so popular in the global market. So it's used in households in US, Canada, Australia, and a lot of ethnic dishes and rice dishes for that matter. They've also added a whole range of Thai cuisine to their this thing after they collaborated with a Japanese company called Kagome. So it's a unique business model. They've been growing very steadily. Very quietly of sorts, without much of ado and publicity here, because they don't have an Indian market to cater to. But what we like about this is that it's unique, it's time tested, and they can scale up. The only issue is that they don't actually have access to quality ingredients. So the backward integration is what the management is generally concerned about. Okay. If they could do that, they'll grow phenomenally from here. Even otherwise, there's an indication that for the next couple of years, they'll grow at a 20% top line, maybe a 22% bottom line. And if you see the kind of multiples that it's available at, it's fairly reasonable for a quality export-oriented business.
It's given great returns this year. I mean, it's up almost 70% this year.
Yes,
already.
It is. But
when
I
did
think
it list? Many years ago, sir.
Yes, it's been around.
I remember that when it was unlisted, it used to be a Ramesh Damani pick.
Yes,
I remember as long back as that, but after that I didn't.
It had a phase where it didn't grow much. It was quite boring of sorts in terms of its business. That technology took some time. It's a technology where you put layers of sealing material to kind of keep the freshness of the food intact. And the way Indian food is getting popular, it's very soon that you'll probably have a scale up on this, which is very imminent.
Just looking at the products, aloo palak, chana masala.
Chana masala is their top selling cuisine.
Okay, you've got us hungry for the stock and for the reason.
But Prakash, you've identified one stock in the broader markets for us, Grindwell Norton. What is the positive trigger there?
So this company happens to be, as you know, one of the joint leaders in the abrasive segment. I mean, they, along with Carborundum Universal, it has about 25% market share. So Carborundum has 25, these guys have 25. Has an extremely strong parentage in the form of Saint-Gobain, which bought into this long back. And so they're backed with a company which has deep pockets, staying power. And remember one thing, whenever you see an uptick in cap goods, or any kind of a move on the industrial side, abrasives definitely are something which because they're used in construction, fabrication, assembling, everything. And these guys have 63% of their top line revenue coming from conventional abrasives, whereas the rest of the 27% comes from plastic and ceramic abrasive, which is a new product line that they've introduced and which is becoming extremely profitable. Just to give you an idea of how this, the business is extremely positive. Any industrial user would have to use abrasive of some form or the other. Whether it's used for machining, polishing, for final, the final look that you get on any machine part. Qumi, which is the other competitor, had a couple of units in South Africa which they had put in a lot of money, where they have actually decided to bring those units back here. They were making losses there, and they're spending a significant amount of money to bring them back. So which very clearly shows that when the market leader wants to invest into India again or reinvest into India, that things are going to look up. And this company has been growing at 15% over the last 10 years. So it's a very steady kind of a play, very boring actually. Nobody likes it because there's no upside which happens suddenly. Okay. But the indications are they would probably grow slightly faster now in the next few years if there's a revival in the economy and industrialization. And we expect that it's always commanded a premium of 30-35 kind of P multiples. So for FY17, even if you look at a 30 rupee EPS estimate, which is fairly reasonable given the growth that they already have, should be at about 900 plus. So, you know, and this is one stock that's actually moved up in this last month or so when things have been bad for mid caps. It's actually gone up about $100 as well. So I think it's a must have in the portfolio if somebody is looking at some sort of a steady alpha generation.